This is a Fox News alert. President Biden set to announce a major operation against a terrorist in Afghanistan. Senior administration officials say it involves an al-Qaeda operative. Brett Baer has some brand new information. What do you know, Brett?
Hi, guys. We can confirm from two intelligence sources that al-Qaeda leader Ayman al-Zawahiri has been killed by a CIA drone strike in Afghanistan over the weekend, and that is what President Biden will announce from the White House tonight at 7:30 Eastern Time. You'll remember Zawahiri was a deputy under Osama bin Laden on 9/11. He is one of the most wanted terrorists, has been for a long time. Here's the FBI sheet on him. He took over the leadership after the death of bin Laden and was considered to be, at one point, possibly dead. But just a report in the past couple of months said that he could be operating in Afghanistan, communicating with terrorists. This is, again, two intelligence sources saying that this is a big counterterrorism win for the U.S. Ayman al-Zawahiri killed in this drone strike. This comes as al-Qaeda. We don't talk about terrorism a lot. We talked about ISIS for a long time, but al-Qaeda was making a resurgence and is making a resurgence in the Middle East, considered to be very dangerous still. And this is a major, major get. The next in command is a guy named Saif al-Adil, longtime al-Qaeda leader and veteran. Second in command to Zawahiri assumed that he would take control of the organization, but we'll hear more details as we get them from a CIA drone strike over the weekend.
So, Brett, was this spontaneous, do you know, or was this a staged operation like with Osama bin Laden?
This was a drone strike with active intel. They had intelligence were being told that Zawahiri was at a certain residence outside Kabul. It's hard to believe after all these years that just outside a major city in Afghanistan where the U.S. had been operating for a long time is this al-Qaeda leader. They acted on that intelligence. We're told that it was a drone strike. We don't know the confirmation and what led to their confidence that it is Zawahiri, but again, you're going to hear a moment tonight that will be President Biden's bin Laden moment, because he will give a speech, we're told, that deals with the fight against terrorism that has been ongoing, even though we haven't talked about it a lot. Ayman al-Zawahiri, you see on the screen there, had been a leader, a spiritual leader, and also someone who is fomenting terrorism in different groups around the world. This is a huge, huge win for the U.S., and we expect to hear that and where the fight goes from here as far as taking out other terrorists.
Katie?
Hey, Brett, good to see you, and thanks for bringing the news to us. So the Biden administration argued after the withdrawal from Afghanistan, which the one-year anniversary is coming up at the end of the month, which we know did not go well, that they would have the capability with the over-horizon drone strikes and CIA intelligence to continue to go after terrorism in Afghanistan. So can you talk about what that means with that backdrop and given this strike that we're going to hear more about from the president tonight?
That's a great point, Katie. This will back up some of the concerns that critics of the Biden administration had, that they would not have these eyes to be able to follow up on leads on the ground. If everything we're hearing is accurate and we believe it to be true, they had some active intelligence from people on the ground they were working with, and that led to this residence, and it led to this CIA drone strike. So that over-the-horizon strike capability was there, despite the concerns still about where Afghanistan is with the Taliban and without guidance of U.S. forces, at least in an over-the-horizon capability.
Jesse?
Well, obviously a great win for the United States and a clear victory over terrorism. Politically for the president, we've just talked about in the A block how the administration and some in the media had been framing this as the resurgence of the Biden presidency. He's got a few things about to be passed in Congress, and now this big strike announcement tonight. Do you think the president's going to look to capitalize on this momentum and head into August after being down for quite some time on the mat?
100%, Jesse. I mean, listen, you can't take away that this has been a couple of good weeks for the president, who we haven't seen too much of. He's been behind the scenes with COVID, but he is at least on the precipice of a couple of legislative wins. We don't know if it'll all line up, but it seems like it is. And obviously got the CHIPS bill. Now with this announcement, again, it will be a positive. You can't look at it any other way. And it will not take away from the horrible nature in which we got out of Afghanistan, but it will enable them to make the case that they're still fighting terrorists around the globe.
Greg.
I know the answer will probably be I don't know, but I'm going to ask you anyway, Brett. That they do say there are no casualties. This is a big strike, but it's always hard to believe to hear that when they say it's a residence and when they're weighing the collateral damage. How do we know that there's no casualties?
Well, we know there's one casualty.
Yes,
but we don't know about the other details. And again, it's. We're just getting pieces of this to get that confirmation about who it was what we were trying to do. But you're right. I mean, any of these strikes, drone strikes, can be messy. They're precision to the target, but you don't know what's in or around the target. So hopefully we'll get some more information tonight.
Jessica.
Hi, Brett. Thanks for joining us. I was curious if you thought that this was going to kind of usher in a new era, or at least certainly multiple news cycles of talking about Islamic terrorism again. It feels like we talked about it a bit, obviously, with the withdrawal from Afghanistan. But before that, it had been years and years before it was really a focus with us. So do you think that this changes that landscape?
I do. I think that it just gets back into people's minds about where we were in hunting these people down after 9/11. Think about how many, I was at the Pentagon at that time over those years as the hunt for bin Laden was continuing, and there was still a hunt for Zawahiri back then, and all the questions about where he could be and the mountains between Afghanistan and Pakistan. And here, is a successful strike right outside Kabul. I think it will bring to the forefront. The thing that's just not in the front of people's minds is because we haven't, fortunately, had a big terrorist attack here in a long time. There have been inspired attacks, but al-Qaeda is still out there. And I think that'll be something the president talks about, is the threats that still face the U.S.
All right, Brett, thanks so much for joining us. We will be watching Special Report in about 25 minutes.
You bet.